Good afternoon, YouTube. Give me a minute, give me a minute, give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, there we are. Okay, so I have been marinating on this one live. Sometimes I come on here and I promise that I'm gonna talk about topics that take a little bit more effort than just getting on here and speaking from my heart, if you will. So things like talking about the chakras, I really want to do that one. I want to take my time and put my touch on it. I want to like really make sure that it's good enough for me. That's how I like to do things. I like things done at a high quality. So if something is done well enough for me, then I feel good to present it. I haven't yet had the chance to sit down and do that, but I know that I will. I promise myself that I will because I actually want to know for myself. Um, so today, my primary topic that I wanted to talk about was types of prayer. And I'm sure, actually, now that I'm here, let me just Google it. I'm sure there are many different types of prayer, but I am only talking about the types of prayer that I predominantly deal with. But let's see. And there are many types of prayers. So I'm gonna give I'm gonna give some examples of what I see right now. There is prayers of intercession, petition, supplication, um, centering prayer, thanksgiving, asking prayer, contrition, um, prayer of thanksgiving, prayer of consecration, prayer of agreement, prayer of blessing, healing prayer, adoration, confession, repenting, intercession, etc. I am going to describe 4 types of prayers today. So it's going to be, first off, just prayers of spending time with the Holy Spirit, spiritual warfare prayers, lamentation, and supplementation. So, or is it supplication or supplement? Supplication, prayers of supplication. So these are the 4 prayers that I am personally going to describe. And in writing down all my notes and everything else that I was doing, I came to the conclusion that really what I'm going to be discussing is immortality. Now, I know that possibly the two may not connect, so let me get into it. So, the first one I'm going to talk about is prayers of spending time with the Holy Spirit. This is something that I do as a routine because my spirit family are very real to me. So, in Christianity, you pray and you go to church and you do all of that, and there is that for sure. There is some symbolism in the form of how would I put it, in the form of like getting baptized, or say in the Catholic Church people will like take Holy Communion, stuff like that. All of that is symbolism. When you delve into spirituality, now you're looking at things like people are making sacrifices like they did in the Old Testament. People are, obviously you give offerings. And in the church, the offering is money. Sometimes they take up, some churches will take up offerings of food, offerings of clothes for the needy, etc. Right? When you're in spirituality and you take it a step further, now you're putting offerings on an altar in your home. When you're spiritual, it is no longer a group sport necessarily. It really is every man out for, yourself, to be honest, in the spiritual world, it's cutthroat, okay? Because it's not all good. You're not in a congregation like that. I think people come together in covens, and I've never been in a coven, so I don't know, but I think, the members of the coven, it would only make sense that they're not all good at the same thing, that they have somebody who's good at different things. I would assume that's how it works. I should probably look it up. Let me look it up. We're here. I want to know. So we can Google this stuff together. We can figure it out together. Let's see. How to create, let's see, a coven of witches. Let's see how they put it together. What are 12 witches called? A coven. Okay, maybe let me ask, what is the point of a coven of witches? It just says here, a coven is a group of witches that come together to teach each other and practice with one another. What is the purpose? It is a composition of a group of practitioners who gather together for rituals, such as drawing down the moon or celebrating the Sabbaths, a place as which they generally, okay. Wow. If a witch betrays the coven, they kill her. That's crazy. Some covens are highly regarded than others, and the highest ranking coven in the coven system is the Emperor's Coven, that only coven whose members are allowed to use all kinds of magic. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, anyway, it says here, I'm assuming that witches come together because everybody has some sort of different skill, and then they obviously would be more powerful together because somebody could do everything, or there's somebody that could do, most of the main things that they need to do. I wouldn't see the point of a coven that is just people that all do that. I don't know. I don't know. Never been in one. Who knows? But anyway, that being the case, what I'm trying to say here is, how did I get so far to be talking about witches? There are prayers. I'm going to start with prayers of spending time. That's how I got here. I was talking about the church. Prayers of spending time. You have to, you don't have to, but most people who are spiritual at some point get an altar. I didn't realize I was putting an altar together myself. I just did so as a fact. As a matter of fact, mentally, I said to myself that I was not gonna, the altar thing was a bit out there for me, and I don't know if that's for me and whatever, because I was coming from Christianity. So, without me knowing, it was such a real experience that couldn't be denied. I could not deny that this was happening to me, that I was surrounded by spirits, and they were communicating with me, and I was communicating back, and we were bonding. And I believe that it was ceremonial without me knowing that it was necessarily ceremonial or ritualistic, without me really knowing. It was a very natural experience. It started with my grandmother. Obviously, I've talked about her before. I wasn't sure if I was going to, but it's already out there. And this is a relationship for me that when she passed away, there was no closure because I couldn't be there. And I have, for so many years, always prayed to her, cried to her, and said, I'm so sorry. I wish I was there. The reason I couldn't be there because I was a kid and I didn't have, obviously, the resources to be there. And so I was crying, and I constantly For many years would cry and say, I'm so sorry I can't be there. I really love you, I miss you. And so I didn't get myself, but I landed in a situation where I was being gang stalked and I was all alone, and no one came to help and no one was there, etc. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to pray, because that's what you're left with. I think that's what most of us end up doing, is we end up praying. Especially if you had a spiritual background at some point, you're going to come back home. So I was praying, I was reaching out, and they reached back. And the craziest part of me saying they reached back is when I realized that they were always there the entire time. They didn't have to reach for anything, they were always there. I went back to specific incidences in my life where God has taken care of me. I went back to specific instances where I watched people get their karma and it was crazy. I went back to times where I was just led, but I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. So, I want to make this reference very clear. I want to say this very clearly because I don't want people to think I just went on TikTok or YouTube or something and I found a goddess and I invoked her and I'm praying to her and I set up an altar to. No, she has always been here from day one. I didn't find this energy. This energy came to me, but I was very open. And I was very, well, first of all, it's the energy of love. And having been in real love before, I knew that energy. I knew exactly what that was. And for me, it was just like the most beautiful experience I've ever had in my life. The two most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life is being in love and meeting God, by far, both of which have to do with love. So I am thoroughly convinced that the only kinds of experiences that I want in my life are loving experiences as a result of that. And so anyway, when you meet a spirit that you love, that loves you in this way, that she loves me and I love her, when you meet in this way, it is impossible to not make it a regular part of your life. So it goes from maybe how people pray, I imagine, is, or how I used to think I had to pray was like very formally, like saying these very formal things and just doing it to do it. But I mean, now it was like I was spending time and I was eager to do it. I wanted to do it all the time. I wanted to constantly make time and be in her presence. And I started understanding the Bible, Psalms, how they wrote those passages, because I'm like, you gotta know God to write this. Because after meeting her personally, can relate to these Psalms, because that's how I felt. Because you have to understand, this is what love is, okay? Because we get confused about love. When we talk about love, we start talking about receiving. We start talking about, I deserve this, and I want this, and I want that, and if you loved me, you would, etc., etc., okay? That's not how love works. Love works like, I want to give you everything. I want to make you happy. What do you want? Love does not think of itself. Love thinks of the other. Love does not think about, well, what is it going to cost me? Well, how hard is it going to be? Well, what am I going to get out of it? Well, what are you going to do for me? That's transactional. Love keeps pushing out. Love wants to overwhelm its victim. Love wants to subdue its victim. Love wants to capture it and keep it and adore it and love it. That's how love works. Love does not work thinking about receiving. That's why when a parent loves you, it is irregardless of if you love yourself. It is irregardless of If you love them back, if you're hurting them, their love is forever. Their love is forever. So that is the way that love with God works. But it is an infinity. It's like I describe it as the infinity symbol. So the infinity, this is the infinity symbol for anybody watching here who doesn't know. The infinity symbol literally is this right here. Oop, 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 wait, there you go. There you go. And this right here is person A pushing love back to person B, and it keeps going around like that. And it is a never ending loop. It is a never ending loop. And that is what love is. That is it. That is all. There's nothing more to it. It's just perpetually giving of yourself. And then when that person loves you back, they give back to you. And so it ends up being naturally an equal give and take because you have two people that are obsessed with each other, that are focused on each other. And it could be person and spirit. It could be person and person. So this is how it goes when you fall in love with the spirit, is that you give it all this energy, all this time. And so in building my natural altar, that happened with, I would go to the store. I would have a good day. I'm feeling the energy pushing back of me not making money, and I'm praying against it and I'm pushing it out. And we end the day with a $3,000 sale after the whole day being dry. We end the day with a $3,000 sale. I sell a fur coat. I'm happy. And I said, you know what? On our way home, let's go get one of my favorite, well, I like desserts, not in excess. I'm very, I'm a simple person, but I'm a little bougie sometimes, I admit, okay? But I went to get my favorite dessert to have with dinner, and a bottle of, I can't remember, maybe it's like something sweet, but it was some kind of wine. And I was happy. To me, I had a good day. And the reason I had a good day is because of this. I wake up in my meditation and I'm in great spirits. I get to work, and regardless of what happens in the day, I'm in great spirits. And if I have a particularly good day, and because I'm praying throughout the day, and there's different kinds of prayers, which I'm going to talk about. Some of the prayers was spiritual warfare prayers, but some of the prayers were loving prayers, was sending love. It was saying, I appreciate you. And we ended up having a little space in the back where we would light a candle and we would pray back there, either for the day to go better or for thanks for the day going very well. So it turns out, like, wherever I spend my time, I would end up building a pseudo altar. It wasn't built in the way that people on YouTube are very formal and ceremonial about it. It was just a place that I spend with God. So God now had a space in the business as well. Fun fact, I didn't have that at the second store. So that might mean something. I didn't like it there. It was always cold. I didn't want to be there. So I never made it home. But anyway, back to the altar. So I think I went and I got some treats, some desserts, and I got a bottle of like some type of prosecco or something. And I went home, and the thing about me is I really spend time by myself. Like some people might just be by themselves and try to entertain me. No, like I spend time with myself. So I get music going, I'll be cooking, I'll be drinking wine, I'll be like watching funny things online or on my laptop. I'll just be having a good time. Like I'm stimulated, but it's like I'm controlling the stimulus coming in, etc. So it's like I think I must have had the music going. I was dancing, and I poured myself a glass, and I was like, no, you guys need a glass too. So I also poured glasses of it wasn't champagne for sure, of prosecco, and put it on this really nice desk in my room where I had my crystals in a jewelry box. I had candles. I had bowls of fruit. Eventually, it turned into bowls of fruit. But prior to that, it would be desserts on really nice plates and the wine glasses and all that. I'd leave it out with a note that basically expressed how grateful, honored, happy, thankful I was for everything. And I'm a person, See, I'm a conundrum because I'm like a mix of a lot of people, to be honest. I'm just not one person. That's the I really am just not one person. I'm one person one time, and then, I don't know, I change. I might come back. I don't know, who knows, but Anyway, um where was I with this story? I ramble a lot. Not usually, but today I'm rambling. The altar. The altar. Um I'm a person who likes either very big gifts or very small gifts. Actually, I like all gifts, but I ask for small favors. So it's like, can you keep me motivated today? Can you keep me peaceful today? Can you keep me happy today? And they would always do that. Every birthday, every birthday, they gift me with inner peace. I'm not joking. I am not joking when I say that. As soon as I wake up on my birthday, I am in a bubble of happiness and love. Every birthday. My first birthday in gang stalking, I think I started getting gang stalked July or August. And, when my birthday rolled around, I was in a bubble of peace that was not explainable. And it was that birthday that she was like, we need to be closer. And at first, I didn't get it. The song would not stop playing all day, all day, all day for hours. It would not stop playing. And I remember, at first, I was just like, there's this one song. I don't know why I said the song. There's just one song that I really love, and it just would not stop playing. And I got the message that she was trying to send to me after. And then I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Well, yeah, sure, of course. And I've talked about this other story where I was watching something on YouTube, and like, obviously I'm an adult and I don't have young kids. And all of a sudden this Disney song came on. It was a song where Aladdin asked Jasmine, "Do you trust me?" before taking her on a magic carpet ride. And to me that felt like God saying, "Do you trust me?" And like I paused and I stopped. I'm like, what is going on here? And then in the song, it repeated again, "Do you trust me?" And I was like, yes. And it was exactly how she said yes. It was like, my body says that I trust you, but my mind is saying, are you insane? And that's how I felt. This has been the most magical relationship journey that I have ever been on in my life. And it has happened to shield me from a very dangerous situation that was destined to happen in my life. It was a matter of time before it happened, and it had been attempted many times before, but they blocked it because they were not ready for it. They were not ready. I was not ready for it. I wasn't there yet. I wasn't strong enough in my faith, in my belief. That's the number one thing I wasn't strong enough in, my belief. Do I believe? Do I believe in a spirit? Will I set up the altar? How will I be? Was I healed enough? More importantly, because you got to be healed to go on a spiritual journey of this kind. I talk about healing all the time, and you can heal in it, but you got to heal. You don't get new life without being healed. So you got to heal, and you got to do the work to heal. So you're on this journey, or I am on this journey, and I am ballooned in this love. And I was falling in love with my mother, with a spirit. That was my journey of falling in love. This whole journey has been a nightmare. It's been love wrapped in a nightmare, wrapped in love again. It's been ridiculous. It has been, but there's been the presence of so much love in my life. I have felt the opposite of what anybody has intended. I feel extremely lucky, extremely loved. I love myself way more than I did when I went into this journey, although I accepted myself and was appreciative of myself going in. But I am at a point where I am in love with myself, with my flaws, with the things that make me unique, with the things that make me me. I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm a beautiful person inside and out, which is important. I think I'm a beautiful person on the outside, and I think on the inside, I am extremely beautiful. I experience myself, so I know that I am a great person to be around, to have in your life, etc. But this journey also taught me that I am the opposite in the same overwhelming amount, that I am an awful person to hurt. I'm the worst person to hurt. It's not good to hurt me. It doesn't end well. And things in my city have been so chaotic since these people have started hurting me that everybody is convinced that I'm the one personally doing it. And whether I am or not at this point doesn't matter, because it works to my benefit that they think I'm a witch. Either way, either way. So it is what it is. However, the bulk of what I want to talk about today is about how you can have the same journey for yourself. And you're not necessarily just having this journey and making this connection just to, be protected from a dangerous situation, although that is part of it. That's a huge part of it. You need it. But the bigger picture is for a life that is peaceful and beautiful and free and loving. So that's the point. So I ended up, as I would do small rituals that I didn't know were rituals, like putting out food. I only really did it on special occasions. Somebody had a birthday. I would make myself and my kids, we'd sit around and we would, sing happy birthday, and we would pray as well, and then we would eat something and I'd set it on the altar and we'd all eat together, and it really was like a family situation. And it was just not just spending time in the sense of like praying in the morning and in the evening, but really making spirit like a genuine part of my life, and including her, or them I should say, in everything. If we are having Thanksgiving dinner at the table, then we set out their plates at the table as well. It's just always including them in everything, always making time for them, always speaking to them, never forgetting that they're there, that they're helping. Because the presence of spirit in my life has been so real. It's been so, it hasn't just been in my head in an imaginative way. It's like she's there. She's everywhere. She's everywhere that I go. I'll go to places and she'll like drift off around first, and then she'll come back. And if I'm with people, she's with them too. She's with them too. So, I mean, there are people who have met God and they don't know they've met God through me. They just haven't known. And I'm sure maybe some of them in my city sit back and they were like, "What was I like when I met her? How did I behave? Was I my best self?" And maybe they might be correlating that to things that might be occurring in their life that is so coincidental that we would say, maybe it's fate. I don't know. It's like what's happening. You know why this is happening. Like no one needs to tell you, you can connect the dots. So anyway, I say all that to say prayers of spending time are beautiful prayers that should not be forgotten, and if anything, I would call them some of the most important prayers. Those are your relationship building prayers. Those prayers to me are just talking about my day, complaining, asking for small favors, asking for things, talking about my relationships. And the irony of that is she already knows all of it, but I do it anyway. Talking about, I'm not happy with this. Please, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't like this. I don't like that. Blah, blah, blah. And it gives us an opportunity to communicate and to just like vibe with each other, which is what you would want to do either way. So I'll give an example of what happened to me last night. So yesterday I never came live because I just wanted to focus on doing something. I had a very productive day and everything went well. And then I was praying and cleaning up my space. And I think this, at some point I took a shower, I don't know, before or after. And, the house is quiet, the lights are off, quiet for bed or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm mad. I get pissed off. I'm like in a rage. And I'm like, why am I so upset right now? And I remember I was like so upset I couldn't pray. I'm like, I can't pray right now. I'm just going to have to just meditate first. So I meditated first. And during the meditation, it wasn't going too well. So I said, okay, let me pray and let me ask God for help. And I was like, as soon as I started praying again, it's like I'm feeling this energy is just reading me. And I'm like, here we go. And I was like, please, 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 like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Like, I just want a moment to you and I, etc. And she's like, where did this anger come from? And she's like, what's the first thing that made you angry? And I was like, she's like, what were you doing when you got angry? I was like, I was taking a shower. And she's like, and what happened? I'm like, nothing. And then she's like, what did you do after that? I'm like, I prayed. And she's like, and what happened after that? I'm like, nothing. And she's like, so why are you mad? And I was like, shit, why am I mad? And I breathed it off within like 2 or 3 breaths. I just started my meditation again, breathed it out, 2 or 3 breaths. I was back. And I was smiling during my meditation because I'm like, this is so, listen, being in the presence of God is extremely humbling, okay? I, in my heart, know that I'm a very wonderful person. I'm not saying that out of ego. I'm saying I'm a very loving person. I'm very peaceful. I like peace. I'm usually very soft-spoken, etc. I have had to be what I've had to be to take care of myself. So people see me on here, I'm angry and I'm in a masculine energy, but I'm normally very feminine. Anyway, and even saying all of that, how I was, it's like then you get in God's presence and you're overwhelmed and you're like, wait a minute. You are the epitome of femininity, of what a woman, I call it what a woman should be because that is what I want to be. And I'll explain how she is as a woman. She is very quiet, naturally. She really only speaks when there is something to be said. It's concise and it's short. It's concise. Because of that, she presents as a very powerful. She's calm, always. She handles her emotion with such skill that you would think she doesn't have any. In fact, she has a lot. She overwhelms you with her presence. She has a lot of emotions. And so sometimes when I pray, she cries. And it's like, that's how I got to know that she feels my feelings. And that's why every time I get upset, she races to comfort me. And she's like, I know. And sometimes it's multiple of them. Sometimes it's like, if I get upset, they're like, I know, it's okay. We'll figure it out. And so I always feel that presence where I'm about to cry and they rush to comfort me. And then I feel like, okay, I'm not going to cry anymore because I don't want them to be upset. But I realize that they feel my feelings. And you can tell how powerful an energy is by how it affects you. So my grandmother always also ascended with me during this journey. And when she ascended, before she ascended, I felt her in a certain way. And now I feel her not as strong as mother, but close. And I mean, my heart, I'm so proud. I'm like, oh my God. Like, anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But the fact is, let me go back to describing her because I wanted to do this. She gives the energy of, she values everything. So she values sex. She values love. She values wealth, making a good living. She values taking care of yourself. She values being respected. She values cultivating a good character. And I know she values those things because these are the things that she pushes onto me to develop in myself. To develop in myself being hardworking. And I'm not just talking about working to work. Building, accumulating, taking care of, finances, amassing wealth. She values that. That is important to her. So she is always talking to me about my money. She's always talking to me about what I should do. She's directed my steps and guided my every investment my entire life. She has taken from me these ideas that I have to be married to own property, or married to have a successful business, or married to have things for myself. She's taken away the idea of depending on anyone. She's taken away the idea of not being prepared for a rainy day, or not having, of not leaving assets to your children, of not training your children financially. She's taken away these ideas so that I can be the best that I can be in that department. She always tells me about my weight. She always tells me, like, work out, eat better. She'll be quiet, I'll indulge, and then she'll be like, enough. You gotta slow down. We gotta take it back. She's even guided things in just the way that I take care of myself as a woman, just the way that I treat myself, things that are important to me, loving myself, like physically looking at myself and liking what I see and being okay with it. And I think that that must show, because for example, you know, say if I date someone, in the beginning they might talk about my hair, like, oh, have you ever thought about straightening it? And then by the time I finally straighten it, they're like, you should just leave it curly. Like, take your hair back curly. I like it how it was. So it's like, or if I wear makeup, it's like somebody will just stare at you like this and be like, can you wipe your face? Can you wash it off? So it's like people eventually perhaps love me the way that I love myself, just the way that I am. And I think all of that is as a result of her loving me and telling me that you're beautiful just the way you are. And there was a period of time where she called me the beautiful one in every single tarot reading. Like, people would be on live reading and they'd be like, I'm just getting the beautiful one. And it would be like reading after reading after reading. And it was like, I know it's her. I know it's her. So she does not withhold compliments when they are deserved. She doesn't make you into, or she doesn't let you have bad habits. She doesn't encourage, you know, bad habits, but she doesn't judge you for them. When you fail or you slip up on something, she's like, it's okay, go to sleep, do better tomorrow. And it's like, I'm beating myself up more than she is. She's so easygoing. She's so beautiful. And it's just like, for me, if I had been, I know how people are when I put up this picture of who she is. And initially, it's like, I would have said to myself, I know how people are, and I know how offended I used to get in the beginning when people used to not respect her or speak. I used to fly into a rage, and then she's like, I used to notice, like, she's not mad. So I'm like, you know what? If she's not mad, then I'm not mad. And I don't like being upset either. And that's the thing. She is never, she expresses anger, but in such a controlled way. Like, you know, she's angry, but she's not out of control. She's not lashing out. So it's like, I've just learned by example how to conduct myself. I've just learned why I would want to be a certain way. No one said, and this has been the entire journey here, no one has said to me, you're gonna learn this by doing that. You're gonna, like, it's been nobody sat me down and taught me anything that I know. It's been life schooling me. It's been the universe teaching me. It's been nature. And when I say it's been nature, I mean animals. I mean weather condition. I mean, like, you can just get something out of everything. You can really feel, like, when you are at a balance between your spiritual self and your physical self, you can just stand and you can feel what is going on around you in the environment. That is the best way that I can put it. I wanted to say something here, and I'll interject it as well, because I'm on the topic of just, you just realize that you're really here to learn. This is all just training you. You are developing yourself. You're mastering yourself in every way. And as much as it's trying, as much as it does push you to the limit, as much as it's exhausting, as much as mentally it forces you to be extremely strong, extremely resilient, it teaches you control. It teaches you to travel light in life. It teaches you to master yourself. by not being a victim to your environment, to your circumstances, by deciding how things are gonna go. Manifestation, when mastered, is not about conjuring up cars and houses and more money in good times. The art of manifestation is when you can manifest in troubled times. When you can cultivate the peace out of yourself. When there is no peace, when you are at war, cultivating peace inside of yourself and ballooning yourself in your own peace. And from that place, beginning to manifest what is outside of the bubble. Now that you have put this peace around you, you know that you can create it. And then inside of your balloon, inside of your bubble, you start manifesting from a place of peace. Not waiting for it to be peaceful, because it might never be, but putting the peace around you and then dictating what happens on the outside of the bubble. What happens is we create the peace from the relationship with Spirit. Spirit is inside of us and we bring her out. We enlarge her around us. We cloak in her energy, in her essence, in her habits. That's why she teaches you to be like her. When to fight, how to fight, when it's not worth fighting, when to give it up, when to walk away, when to save yourself. She teaches you to fight. Then she teaches you how to do it gracefully, how to do it elegantly, how to never soil your robes in a fight, that you will win. Master, warrior goddess, knows how to fight like a lady. It is the most impressive thing I have ever seen in my life. I was gang stalked and maintained my dignity, my self-respect, my grace, my posture the entire time. Through prayer and meditation, calming, connecting, invoking spirits, calling on spirits. It was beautiful. I was not alone. As a matter of fact, I was heavily guarded. Now, it did not mean that I was not upset, but I was not out of control. And if there's one thing people who know me know, that you can push me so far, and then when I get upset, I'm still gonna be very controlled. I'm still gonna be very controlled. I'll be very firm, but I'm not really one to I don't like emotional messiness, which is why I don't like healing on camera, because sometimes I get really upset and it's not me. I like to take care of things in appropriate places. I think that is important as well. But back to her. She is just a lady in all ways. And one of the things that she particularly values is celibacy, because she knows how people use sex against you. She knows that if you carry her energy, and that's male or female, that people will want to possess you. That her energy is very addictive. That people constantly want to be in your energy and in your space because you're so pleasant to be around, because you feel so good, because you lift people up. You provide a peace that people normally do not know. So she keeps you alone. She pushes people away from you. And it's for your benefit, because when she knows that these people don't belong here, she's not going to make it safe for you to be around them. So it has just been, honestly, it's been a lifelong journey with her. It hasn't just been something that's just happened. It's not something new. It's been a lifelong journey. But I've only recognized what's going on and how I've been guided. So this is what I offer people who I know are going through it and are feeling some sort of spiritual, activity around them during the course of gang stalking. Even if you weren't necessarily spiritual before, you're definitely feeling the energy that something spiritual is happening, and it absolutely is. What else will I say about that? What else can I say about that? So the prayers of spending time are important. This is how I got to know her, and this is how, you're gonna get to know her as well. And believe me, this is the energy that you want to fight this battle with, because she is the one that knows how these people operate, and she knows how to get you out of this, and she will tell you things that only she would know. So there's that. Then there are prayers of supplication, and I'm going to read what supplication is. So the meaning of supplication is the action of asking or begging for something earnestly or humbly. He fell to his knees in supplication. So you're asking or begging for something humbly. Prayers of supplication, by the way, supplication, not supplementation. Prayers of supplication, also known as petitioning, is a form of prayer wherein one party humbly or earnestly asks another party to supply something. So either for the party who is doing the supplication, please spare my life, or on behalf of someone else. And I'm going to read one more thing. What is the difference between a prayer and supplication? Prayer and supplication are different but connected aspects of spiritual devotion. Prayer is a wider way of connecting with the divine, while supplication involves making passionate, specific requests during times of deep need or desire. These are the kind of prayers that you pray during gang stalking. Prayers of supplication, earnest prayers, honest prayers, prayers from a place of innocence where you're asking for something very specific. Please assist me in coming out of this situation. Please help me. I am innocent. Please take this problem away from me. Please help me figure out what I'm supposed to learn from this. These are very specific prayers, very specifically asking for something. These prayers are the prayers of the innocent to the divine, to Most High. So this is what supplication is. You got to put a lot of prayers of supplication down, especially in the beginning. You don't know what's happening. Now, sometimes it says it's prayers of request, but sometimes I think it may not necessarily just be requests. There were a lot of prayers of supplication that I was making where I wasn't necessarily, I mean, obviously it was passionate praise. It was passionate thanks. It was gratitude for being with me. It's like the whole thing flowed so fluidly. It's like they make their way there and then they're there with me, and then I feel spiritual attacks. So who else am I going to ask for help? Naturally, I would ask my spirit guides. I would ask people that are, the energies that are with me. I describe them as people. That's how like real they are to me. But that is what prayers of supplication are. The other kind of prayers that I want to talk about is prayers of lamentation. So, what does it say? The book of the Bible telling of the dissolution of Judah after the fall of Judah. No. Let me see. What is lamentation? Why is this meaning not open? Oh, here we go. Lamentation is the passionate expression of grief or sorrow or weeping. And prayers of lamentation are prayers of lament. They are expressions of frustration, anger, or grief, which arise out of painful situations in which we feel overwhelmed, abandoned, or punished by the presence of brokenness, suffering, and loss. Prayers of lament remind us of our human vulnerability, but they are prayers of faith and hope, not despair. That is a very big one. Yes, you will be expressing some despair, because if you're lamenting, it's because things are going horribly, and you are falling at God's feet. That's essentially what I look at it as. there will be some despair to a situation like that, but you're not going in with the outcome of feeling like you're in despair or the outcome of this is not going to work out. You're going knowing that you are at spiritual war, and that you're telling them this is the situation and this is what's happening, and you're pleading to them passionately to help you. So in a way you can say, I'll read to you what I think is an example of a prayer of supplication, and then I will read, if I have it, a prayer of lamentation, or a psalm expressing either one. So a psalm of supplication, a prayer of supplication, in my opinion, is Psalms 30. Psalms 30 is, in my opinion, there's one particular verse here, verse 9, and then it ends with a promise. It's 12 verses. It's very short. It's 12 verses, and I'll give you the what I like about it the most. So it starts off with praise. You can also start off with thanks. Thanks, praise, all of it, all the same. Appreciation for God. And obviously, the bulk of the prayer is really lifting God up, extolling, praising enthusiastically. And then you come into supplication, which is where you ask for what you want to ask for. And then the verse 9, which is the most beautiful verse in my mind, it's the most genius way to pray, is where you really make your requests. You ask for what you want, and then you also offer what you're going to give, which is how it closes. This is what I'm going to give in return. And so I talk about equal give and take in love in the beginning part of this live. And I talk about the fact that love looks like an infinity symbol. That is a definition of love. It's like a love that will never end because it keeps going on. And as you push love out, it comes back to you. So when you're asking for something, you're not just constantly asking, but you're also saying, this is what I can do for you. And believe me, it matters. So let me read it. Psalms 30. So this was a psalm and song at the dedication of the house of David. So a dedication of a house is like blessing a house, and it's like basically giving that house to the glory of God. So whatever comes of this house, what this house stands on, what this house is about, is the glory of God. It's the dedication of a home. So like I talked about my second store in a mall location, it just didn't feel like home to us in the way the first one did. Like, I mean, in the back of the first one, we had food, we had clothes, we had shoes, we had lotions, we had everything you could think of. It was like our second home, and we had an altar in there as well, what turned into an altar, a place to kneel and pray. And the second one, it was like I was in and out, nothing in there. Like, it was cold. It wasn't really a place I wanted to be at all, to be honest with you. So when you dedicate a house, you're making it a home by first saying, I formally make this a home for God to be here first and to be comfortable. And so for me, I feel like, not I feel like, but a house is also symbolic of, it can be one's castle, it could be one's kingdom, it's whatever it is that you control, that you've been blessed with. So it can be your career, it could be your family, it could be it's your gift and your talents. Everything is of your house. So that's how I see it when they say the house of David. I think David had many houses. So it's not just talking about the physical structure, which I talk about all the time. So Psalms 30. I will exalt thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. Foes are enemies, obviously. O Lord my God, I cry unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment, but in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? And this is why I love this psalm, because the first couple verses is literally just praising God and saying, you've done this, you've done that. And then by the time you come to verse 8, it's like, I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made supplication. It's saying, I want to ask for something. But before I ask for something, what is the profit in my blood if I go down to the pit? Is the dust gonna serve you? Is the dust gonna praise you? Shall it declare your truth, the truth of your existence, the truth of who you are? Because people lie on God all the time. So some of us have to be honest. Some of us have to tell the truth. Verse 10 says, Hear, O Lord, and have mercy upon me, Lord. Be thou my helper. This is a supplication. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. Sackcloth is like wearing potato sacks. It's like a sign of poverty, a sign that things aren't going well. To the end, and this is 12, where they're offering up what it is that they want to give. This is where you're saying, this is what I would like to give back. It's saying, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. It's to the end that my glory, me rising out of the ashes, me winning this battle, may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O my Lord, I will give thanks unto thee forever. This is how you make a prayer of supplication. This is a perfect example of how you make a prayer of supplication. First, you're giving thanks. First, you're giving acknowledgement of how God has already been there. And that's the bulk of it. From verse 1 to verse 7, it's all giving thanks. One verse to announce you're giving supplication, the other verse to really say the reason why it makes sense to do so, because who's going to praise you? Two verses to ask, for what you want. And the one last verse to say, this is why it makes sense. And for me, I just feel like I used to read this one. Obviously, I read a lot of them. I went through a lot of them. There's some of Lamentation that really talk about thinking that God has forgotten you, thinking that God is not really pulling through, not knowing what's going on. If I can find it right now. But supplication is really where you're really pleading. Hold on. Okay, this is a spiritual warfare prayer. I'm going to save this because I want to talk about spiritual warfare as well. It's one of the things that I do want to talk about. Let me see if I can find, if I have anything saved for lamentation, prayers of lamentation. Actually, let me just look it up. We have the internet right here. So here's another definition to lamentation. Psalms of lament are not just about expressing pain, but they are about reaching for hope. The psalmist remembers that he has learned about. Let me start again. Psalms of lament are not just about expressing pain; they are about reaching for hope. The psalmist remembers that what he has learned about God in the past and declares it. It is hard to reconcile the despair with hope, but our pain and suffering is not the last word on God. And that is, I knew it was in the 40s. I knew it was in the 40s. I knew it was in the 40s. I did not mark it. Why did I not do that? Okay, so this is an interesting psalm. I'm reading this for the first time. I don't think I've ever remembered this. So, this is Psalms 44, to the chief musician for the sons of Korah, Mashil. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means. It sounds very fancy though. It sounds very formal. I love Old English. I really do. I love Shakespeare. I love all of it. Anyway, Psalms 44, we're going to read it together. So it says, "We have heard with our ears, O God, our fathers have told us, what work thou didst in their days, in the times of old. How thou dost drive out the heathen with thy hand, and plantedst them, how thou didst afflict the people and cast them out. For they got not the land in possession by thy own sword, neither did their own arm save them, but thy right hand and thine arm and the light of thy countenance against thou hadst a favor unto them, and the light of thy countenance, because thou hadst a favor unto them." Now, I wanted to really point out, because this is another thing that I wanted to talk about here, is the hands that people use for crystals. Because right here, it talks about how God saved them by the right hand. So I noticed there's this explanation for crystals that says the left hand is a hand of receiving, the right hand is a hand of giving. And so people tend to put more protection on the right hand and more sort of spiritual enhancement beads on the left. And it's the opposite. Black magic or baneful spiritual work is called the right hand path, or the left hand path, sorry. And it's called the left hand path because it's known that the left hand is the hand of, like, the devil. It's the hand of evil. So even in certain cultures, they won't let you write with your left hand. They hide behind your back and force you to use your right hand. They believe that they don't want kids to do this. So the right side is the side, this is the hand of God, the right hand of God. That's why people say this is my right hand man, which means that this is the side of God. This is the side where you have your crystals that have to do with, well, you could do healing and protection on both and should do on both, but anything to do with crown and opening the third eye and love and anything like that, that goes on your right hand. Anything to do with protection and battle and blocking, because you receive in the left. So that's where evil enters. So that's where you have to block. The hand of receiving is a hand you block. That is not the hand you make sweet. The hand you make sweet is the hand of giving. So that's the right hand. So it's the opposite way. Please, like, be reticent of that. Like, be aware. So this is the hand with protection. This is the right one. Okay. So back to this. "Thou art my God, my King, O God. Command deliverances for Jacob. Through thee we will push down our enemies. Through thy name we my God, I'm reading too fast. Through thy name will we tread them under that rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies and hast put them to shame that hated us. In God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever." That's me right there. I boast about God all the time. I realize it's boasting. I cannot help it. I am in awe, I am in gratitude, and I am in love. And I definitely feel that God has shamed people who hate me, for sure, guaranteed. They haven't gotten the job done. Their lives have fallen apart. The things they said would happen to me are happening to them. I mean, it is what it is, right? But thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goest not forth with our armies. Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy, and they which hate us spoil for themselves. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us amongst the heathen. Thou sellest thy people for naught, and dost not increase thy wealth by thy price. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. Thou makest us a byword amongst the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face have covered me. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and avenger. All that is come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. It's basically saying, of everything that's happened to me, I have not forgotten about you. You know, in whatever has happened, and I haven't behaved falsely in the agreement that we have with each other, because you do have a covenant with God. You do have a pact, as some spiritualists say they have pacts with entities and whatever, but you have a pact with God, you have a covenant. And they're saying they haven't dealt falsely in their pact with God. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Though thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons, and covered us with the shadow of death. If we have forgotten the name of our God, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not God search this out, for he knoweth the secrets of the heart? Basically saying, if I turn to different gods, strange gods, if I stretch my hand out other places, would you not have known? Because you know everything. Yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake, why sleepest thou, O God? Arise, cast us not off forever. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust, our belly cleaveth into the earth. Arise for our help, and redeem us for thy mercy's sake. So 44 is what I would consider, this is what I would consider a prayer of lamentation. It's basically saying, like, look, I don't forget you. I know that you're there. I'm praying to you, but where are you? Because we're going through it. This was me a lot of times. I wasn't saying where are you because, you know, the presence of, there was a lot around me spiritually, and I mean a lot. So I wasn't saying where are you, but there were times I was saying, please, like, it needs to be done now. It's ridiculous. It's going too far. They're crossing the line, etc., etc. So I think that's what a prayer of lamentation really is. It's really invoking and pulling the spirit towards recognizing your condition, that it's not improving. Like, I have been here. I have been faithful. I have done my part. Where are you? So it's like, you know, the definition says, it's really you finding hope. It's really in hopeless situations, it's really you kind of pleading with God to come forth in this agreement, to really come forth and in this relationship, and not let your enemies rejoice over, you know, taking over you. So that's the first one. There was supplication, lamentation, and the last one is spiritual warfare, because that's what gang stalking is. If people have not figured it out yet, a lot of people have. I've been very pleased to see that there were other people that got it as well as I did. Spiritual warfare is what's happening to you during gang stalking. They are not just gang stalking you so that they can have a great day, or that it's not, no. They're spiritually attacking you. They're spiritually depleting you. They're spiritually taking away from you. They are spiritually siphoning from you in broad daylight without people seeing. That's what they do. They steal your good luck. They steal your networks. They steal everything that is yours. They steal your networks. And in the case of drug muling, that's exactly what they did, trying to force me to be a drug mule. They sucked in everybody that was around me, everybody that could help me is now one of them. So let me read what I would consider a prayer of spiritual warfare. There's obviously the obvious ones. Okay, I gotta look this up. I just had one. I don't know where it went. So let's look at Psalms for spiritual warfare. Because I know some off the top of my head, but I don't want the obvious ones that everybody knows. Okay, these are not in Psalms. I want Psalms specifically. There's Psalms 91, everybody knows about. Psalms 27, everybody knows about. Um, okay, so I'll do 35. 35 is another popular one. Psalms 35, a Psalm of David. Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive against me. Fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and stand up for mine help. Draw out also the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am thy salvation. Let them be confronted that put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. Let them be as chaff before the wind, and let the angel of the Lord chase them. Let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of the Lord persecute them. For without cause they have hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his nest that he have hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. And my soul shall be joyful in the Lord, it shall rejoice in his salvation. All my bones shall say, Lord, who is like unto thee, which deliverest the poor from him that is too strong for him, yea, the poor and the needy for him that spoileth him? False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charges things that I knew not. They rewarded me evil for good to the spoiling of my soul. And as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into mine own bosom. I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one that mourneth for his mother. But in mine adversity they rejoiced, and gathered themselves together. Yea, the abjects gathered themselves together against me, and I knew it not, that they did tear me, and ceased not. With hypocritical mockers in feast, they gnashed upon me with their teeth. Lord, how long wilt thou look on? Rescue my soul from their destructions, my darling from the lions. I will give thee thanks in the great congregation. I will praise thee amongst much people. Let them that are mine enemies wrongfully let not them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me. Neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without a cause. For they speak without peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in the land. Yea, they opened their mouth wide against me and said, Aha, aha, our eye have seen it. Thou hast seen, O Lord. Keep not silence. O Lord, be not far from me. Stir up thyself and awake to my judgment, even unto my cause, my God and my Lord. Judge me, O Lord my God, according to thy righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, so we would have it. Let them not say, we have swallowed him up. And let them be ashamed and brought to confusion together that rejoice at mine hurt. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor that magnify themselves against me. Let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause. Yea, let them say continually, let the Lord be magnified, which thou which have pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. And my tongue shall speak of thy righteousness and of thy praise all the day long. So this I would call it prayer of spiritual warfare. I also call prayers of spiritual warfare prayers of vengeance, because you are asking for vengeance. You're not asking for niceties. You're not asking for, oh my God, no. You're saying whatever people are devising against me, this is what should happen to them. They should know what it is like. And I have said that my entire time, and that is what karma is. You're really, these prayers, though they have subtle differences, they're prayed in different moods. And you're asking for different things, and I think they're all really important. So prayers of spiritual warfare focus on using prayer as a weapon to do battle with the spiritual forces of evil, especially in regards to one's daily life or habits. So yeah, that's what that's about. You know, if you're being, I wanted to go over the prayer thing for sure. I'm glad I got an opportunity to do so, because I really wanted to put that down. And I am going to make sort of like I guess a little chart that kind of depicts what each different one is. You're in this situation here, being gang stalked, like we all are, having people go against you, and then you realize that you're in spiritual warfare. You're fighting for your life. You're fighting to keep what's yours. You're fighting to do the best that you can do. And really, I often talk about fighting in a way where you're not exhausting yourself spiritually. You're giving your spiritual energy in praise, in prayer, in thanks. You're giving a lot of energy when you make these prayers, whether it's supplication, lamentation, whether it's spiritual warfare that you're invoking, whatever it is. You know, you're really giving your energy to the Most High, and you're really making sure that this is where you place your focus. You're connecting to God as much as possible, and you're going to face, as you're being gang stalked, and a bunch of you probably already have, you're going to face a feeling, if not something that you can feel, but the reality of spiritually, these people want to take you out spiritually. And they're putting a death to you. They're putting a death to everything that makes you you, everything that is yours. And new life is in the Lord. New life is in the Most High. And I shouldn't say the Lord because she is a lady, but new life is in the Most High. And, you know, I talk about it all the time. There are energetic and spiritual chains that have been put on you to enslave you, to keep you in service. There are teams of people working against you. There are groups of people. It's not just one person. I mean, you're getting a lot of energy. And you're really fighting, and your purpose really is to endure this situation. Excuse me, because they are enduring backfires for coming at you. I imagine that they've dealt with people who are protected before spiritually. I'm sure they have. I think just to be a witch doctor, you've endured backfires in the past. They talk about it all the time. So I think that these people sending energy, if you're spiritually protected, your spiritual team is sending it back. But if you're not spiritually connected, if you're not reaching out, if you're not, you know, you doing the work on your end as well. I always say that it takes two hands to clap. You're in a very hopeless situation. You're in a dismal situation. The odds are against you, because not only are these people coming at you physically, police aren't coming to help. No one is coming to help. So you truly are in this battle alone. So, you know, for me, that is the first thing that I did. Is I said to myself, I'm gonna, you know, get some spiritual help. I'm gonna invoke my ancestors. I'm gonna invoke, you know, whatever help that I can. And when I come on here and I talk about fighting spiritual battles, out enduring, making sure you never give up, making sure you get back up, you know, a lot of things are going to happen. You're going to lose things. You're going to lose people very early on. You're going to lose all of that. But every time you lose a battle, you're supposed to get smarter. Every time, because these people are studying you. So every time something happens where it didn't go your way for whatever reason, you're supposed to be studying that. You're supposed to be saying, well, how did they get in to do that? What was their purpose for coming here? What did they want to do? And so I can tell you as an example of that, there was there were so many battles that I wouldn't say I lost. I just learned. I never took it as a loss. So say for example, you know, with me in business, people always wanted to connect with me in business and then create a problem from thin air. And so it started dawning on me, I need to be careful who I work with because they keep sending people and it keeps being some kind of a created conflict. So you're in business and you want to make money and you're saying, I need the income, and they're using that because they know they're attacking your finances in every other way. So whatever finances they set before you now, it's like they're going to make it contentious, and they're not just going to make it a problem so that they could slander you and say you were a problem, and this person can prove it because they have a picture with you on the internet, or you guys cross promoted, or they have a picture on your page. They're not just doing it this way. What they are doing is they also want to create chaos for you in your world. So the conflict creates the chaos. They're hoping that you respond in a certain way, and then they're going to turn around and say, "Oh, you're the this or that kind of person." So by that happening to me once or twice, I learned about who I'm hiring as an employee. I learned about like who am I going to do business with? Who am I going to engage in? And it's almost like the bigger the platform of the person that you do business with, it's the more people that story can reach. It's that person can now make sure that you can never work with anybody else in this industry because they're going to go around and say, oh, well, I worked with this person and it didn't go well. And here's what happened. So every time something happens, you're not supposed to sit there and take that necessarily as a loss. You're supposed to learn the tactics. You want to learn all their tactics in order to graduate out of this. So you're going to go from, and I take it as an opportunity for study. If these people have 20 tactics, then you have to face 20 losses because they're going to keep applying the same tactic until you learn the lesson, until you can block it, until you can close that door. Now, what I try to do is shorten the time between when they send a tactic at me and how I can implement a solution to it. So I used to come on here, and every time my chat was on, it's all this distraction, it's all this rude behavior, it's all these degrading comments. How long did it take me to turn the chat off? Too long, I'd say. I just didn't know how to do it, to be honest. I wanted to turn it off, I just didn't know how to do it. So it's a matter of finding a fix, and you know, that's how you end this cycle. It's a bunch of solutions that you put together, which I talk about on my page all the time, but that is a huge part in closing the cycle. Is you have to find solutions to every single problem that these people put in your way. Oh, you know, every time I move somewhere something happens, then how do I solve that? Every time, you know, I open a store location, this happens. Well, how do I solve that? Every time this happens or that happens, well, how do I solve? And you know, you just keep on going. So you have to close the doors of access to you. And I would imagine I wouldn't take that any crazy way, because I'd imagine that's what celebrities have to do. Celebrities are celebrities and they want to be nice. Oh, they love their fans. And then you realize that people are crazy, and then you know, you can't even handle your own social media anymore. You don't handle your own emails. You have to create sort of like, you have to block access to yourself. And it's the same thing that you have to do spiritually from these situations. You know, just today, I went to sleep and it's like these people hound you to get in contact with you to disturb your peace. Disturbing your peace is very important to them. They hound you. They hunt you down to find you. I get BS calls on my phone all the time. Somebody can't get in touch with me and they're dying wherever they are. Because they can not by email, not by social media, not by phone, not through friendship, not by going anywhere with anyone, not by seeing me every day. The only way that they see me is on this camera. That's it. So I've blocked all access. That is why I have peace. You have a presence around you that is chaotic. And from this peace, from this bubble of peace, you manifest yourself out of this situation. You can now slow down and sit down and think, this doesn't work for me, that doesn't work for me, how do I figure this out, how do I figure, and keep going. So, you're out enduring. You're gonna get to your place of peace if you are in active gang stalking and you're the one closing the cycle, meaning that they're not getting tired or the benefactor is getting tired of paying them. You're the one closing the cycle very early on. Once you're in that state, you're gonna have people that are very aggressive, and you have to start closing doors on them immediately. So, like I said, I think gang stalking pamphlets should be available in the airport, in the washrooms, everywhere. Everywhere. It is a silent killer. It is a phenomenon that people should know about. It shouldn't be kept to ourselves. As many people need to speak up about it as possible until it becomes common knowledge, until it's so common that people, when they hear of gang stalking, are not going to flinch anymore, or there's not even going to be because that's what they're fighting to pretend that it's not happening, it doesn't exist. So we need to make sure that people know that it exists. We need to put an end to these cycles. We need to close this down, and we need to make sure that people don't keep going through these kind of things. So please. And by the way, anybody in the live, if you can like the video, that really helps YouTube know that our channel is active and people appreciate our content. I would very much appreciate it. Thank you. But yes, this is the place that I'm in. I'm in a place where the cycle has to end. It's gonna end one way or the other, by force or by fire. I am constantly in a state of prayer. I am constantly in a state of healing. I'm constantly in a state of learning. I gotta learn. I gotta still learn. I think, the lessons have been learned. You never know. There's always something to learn. I think life can always teach you something. And that's where I'm at. The last thing that I want to say is, please remember that you are a portal for your spiritual team. You are a portal for your spirit guides. That spirit adores our feelings. Different spirits like different feelings. Some spirits, they like the hate in you, they like the anger in you, they like the jealousy, they like the envy. And some spirits like when you're happy, you're healthy, you're in love, you're alive, you're peaceful. Make a wise choice as to what spirits you invite into your life. I only work with spirits of light that enjoy these good feelings. you know, and they feel your feelings through you. So they're going to push for the kinds of feelings and the kind of results that they want, that they like. So if you're working with higher energies and you're asking for help and you're invoking all of that, they're going to want to save you because they don't like how you feel or how you're being made to feel by being in a spiritual battle, by being in a spiritual war. So it's the exact same thing. If you're people that work with darker entities are going to push them to do dark things because they want to feel, they don't want this person to heal. They don't want these people to be released from their clutches as being used as pawns, being used as vessels. So it works the same way. You have to choose what makes you happy at the end of the day. You want to be equal give and take. You want to not have transactional relationships with spirits that don't care about you, that just need a sacrifice, that just need a vessel. You want to have equal give and take in all your relationships. And I'll tell you, even with whatever God asks of me, what she gives me in return, it's like, whatever I ask for, she's like, no, you need to ask for more. No, you need to ask for more. She believes in giving you what you deserve. And a lot of times I feel like I get so much more than I deserve in this relationship. Not that I don't deserve anything, but I mean, I just feel very blessed and very abundant and very, I would not have made it without my spirit team at all. So I am very grateful. I got 2 cards for the day. I got the Citron card again, which I read last time. So I'm going to read this one first because I talked about it the other day, Labradorite. And this is what it looks like. I have one, and I talked about in a video I made about cleaning my crystals, about how it broke, it chipped. I think it's a stone that can be useful for gossip, slander, and whatever. So I like to have it, and it's a protection stone. So it wants to protect you from these energies coming at you. This is the crystal of esoteric knowledge, according to this card. It is an aura protector. So I think that when people slander you and they create rumors about you, that it definitely it destroys your public image. It's one of your chakras that it attacks, and I'm gonna figure out which one that is. It destroys your public image and it makes people treat you a certain way. So that's how I would see it, as being an aura protector. It's a high vibrational crystal. This highly mystical crystal is a bringer of light containing esoteric knowledge. Raising consciousness and connecting with universal energies, it takes you into another world or other lives. Protective labradorite creates an interface between your own personal energy field and that of another person, deflecting unwanted energies from the energy bodies and preventing energy leakage. Excuse me, it is excellent for screening yourself while allowing awareness of what is happening in another field. You do not take on thoughts and feelings, but remain objectively aware. This crystal opens intuition and activates psychic gifts. It draws messages from the unconscious mind to the surface, facilitating understanding, internal conflicts, and multiple agendas. That's a lot. That is a lot. On the body, it deals with the eyes, the brain, the hormones, and and menstrual tension. And in the mind, it stimulates imagination, promotes rationality and contemplation. So I already have labradorite. It's one of my favorite stones. I would definitely get another one because why not? So that's labradorite. Citron again came up, and this is the crystal for abundance and prosperity. Money trees come in citron as well. So you can have like a money tree. It's just like a little tree. You can have it on your altar. You can have it around your home. And sometimes they put like crystals on the top of it. So sometimes it's like the citron crystal, and this is what it looks like. It's a yellow crystal, high vibrational, reminds you of the sun, and it's a crystal of good fortune, and it's extremely high. Citron promotes generosity of spirit and acceleration of wealth. It encourages gratitude for the small gifts in life and motivates you to freely share your abundance and expand your heart. Excellent for counteracting depression, this crystal instills optimism and a positive attitude. It overcomes apathy and hopelessness and raises self-esteem. It makes you less sensitive to criticism so that you respond constructively. Citrine capitalizes on your skills and talents, stimulating your mind. This stone of creativity facilitates seeing new possibilities and actualizing them. So, on the spirit, it protects your aura, cleanses the chakras, and brings joy to the soul. So these came out together. An aura protector. Well, these are both aura protectors. The two of these, citron and labradorite. And honestly, whenever crystal comes up, I just go to buy another crystal. I'm gonna be covered in crystals one day, and which was my fear. I did not want that to happen, but it's clearly going to happen because it's already happening right now. And then last but not least, I tried to stay consistent with the card of the day. Today I have time. Usually I don't always. So these are my Spirit Oracle cards. They are messages from Spirit, and I just pull one because they're so encouraging. And this is how God speaks to me, to be honest with you. That's why I love them. It's always encouraging, and it's always like speaking in a tone that is just pushing me to do better or just be a better version of myself in a gentle way. So the first one says, focus your mindset on what you can control instead of what you can't. The world is your oyster. Elevate your thought patterns so that you can attract abundance into your life. You are what you believe. I had to believe that I could end this gang stalking experience, that people would get karma. I had to believe in things that there were no odds to back it up. There was no statistical knowledge that said people have gotten out of this situation in the way that you want to get out of this situation. There was no, how can I put it? The odds were just against me. And everybody was saying, oh, you can't end it, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? I did. I don't care what anybody has to say. They cannot even get people. If this was back in the day, they would be having so many people watching this live. There was a point where they had so many gang stalkers that they would have 200, 300, 600 people watching stories at one time within a 24-hour day. Now they can only get between 2 to like 8. If they do 8, it's a lot. And if they want to prove a point and they get to like 25, 30, it takes them the whole day to get that many people. Like they're calling, begging for a like, or probably going on fake pages and liking, like it's bad. So this is how much this situation has fallen apart. So when I come on here and I talk about how to pray, it might not be possible, it might not be the fun, exciting stuff, but it's skills that you need to have. If I talk about crystal healing, if I talk about these things, these are skills you need. You don't want to, you're backed up against the wall and you do not know how to pray. You do not know how to approach spirit in the right way. Going and saying, please can I have this, please can I have that, and not recognizing that you need to be of service for this kind of protection is not the way to go about it. So you really do have to try to attract the things that you want by psyching yourself up, by believing that it's possible. And this card talks about the world is your oyster, elevate your thought pattern so that you can attract abundance. But you know, I think abundance comes in all forms, not just financial. I think you can have an abundance of peace. You can have an abundance of happiness. You can have an abundance of love. That's why the tarot decks describe abundance as cups. One of them is wealth, but there's beyond that. So, you know, this is what I would say you're creating your peace for. When you close all these doors around you, you can have a peaceful place from which to start imagining yourself once again abundant in love, abundant in peace, abundant in wealth, abundant in whatever it is that you need. So that's the first one. The second one says you're not moving too slowly, because boy, you will be moving slowly during this process. I'm telling you, it has taken me a long time to get here. It is crazy. You're not moving too slowly. Drop the self-induced pressure. You are at the sweet spot between taking care of yourself and still making advancements on your goals. On this path, there's no such thing as being behind. Smile, breathe, and carry on. And I thought about this today, and it is the truth. So I have been, God doesn't let you get anywhere too early either. As much as you cannot be too late, you're not getting there too early. Like, you will be held back, you will be stagnated, you will be slowed down until it is safe to move forward, or until the time is right, or until the correct conditions are in place. Right now, it's like, but so I can tell you, for example, I'm so used to having a routine from having physical locations, but I'm in a place now where it's like, my body wants, I want to wake up early, I want to do all these things, but it's like the way that I work is different, and I do have to take care of myself. I have to sleep a little bit better, eat better, do all of these things. And for me to focus on that, I also need to focus on you know, carving out the time to do it, not just like work, which has been an issue. So if you are in a situation, and I know people in my city are, where your money is stagnated, it's stagnated on purpose. The money in this organization has died. It's not is dying, it was dying all of last year, while people were too focused on gang stalking me and didn't see what was happening. It's dead. They don't make any money anymore. These people are broke, like in poverty, cannot pay for things, putting money together to get things done. Investment of gang stalking me, it's down the drain. So if you're going through that period, if you're still around them, if you're still attached to them, then that would mean your money stagnated as well. And so it is what it is. You gotta just take it day by day, have faith in God. Hopefully you have decent savings, manage your money properly, etc., etc. That's the best that I can say. And the last one, instead of pushing yourself so hard, stop, breathe, and reevaluate. You are doing enough, even if it doesn't feel like it. Don't wear yourself out to the point of exhaustion. It is not worth it. Balance your time more wisely. Sometimes I want to get everything done in like one day to get it out of the way and move forward to other things, just to do things to, and you know what? I've learned now that I'm in a different place and maybe I need to live life at a different pace, that things are going to be fine regardless. Things are fine regardless. I'm at peace. And you know what? I take this as like a rest stop, a rest pit until, I get to the next phase. A piece of advice that I want to give with this gang stalking thing. Please do not take this too seriously. Do not take this too seriously. I don't take this seriously enough to the point that I think people do think that maybe it's not happening or maybe it's not as serious as it is, and they definitely take it for a joke, and it is not. It is not a joke, but I do not take it as seriously. I just don't. I can't. Reason being, if you take it too seriously, you're gonna like fall into this thing head first, as if like your life is coming apart, or like this is like a journey. This is like a magic carpet ride is what I'll put it as. Like, you're coming out of it. You're not staying here forever. No part of your life is meant to stay forever. And that's the thing. They want to take something that should be a pit stop, that should be training for you, and make it like your forever. And you can't let people make anything your forever, or like dictate how you're going to do anything in life. You need to move on. You need to move on from this situation. You need to like free yourself is what I'm gonna say. Free yourself. This is my message for today. There are 4 people in the chat left. Guys, I would really appreciate if you put a like on the video. It just really helps my video, it my engagement and whatnot. The information that I give, I have suffered to give, but more so, I think, just more people having access to hearing what I have to say. So I really would appreciate a like when the video is done. Thank you, and have you guys a good day. Bye bye.